So if you're taking notes as we go along here, don't write this down just yet. We are going to answer this question, but we're going to circle back to it in a minute. I wanted to put it up here as our first thing, just to kind of give us an idea of what kind of questions we're talking about, right? This is a scenario that comes up in insurance companies, for example, around the world every day. They're trying to come up with a price to put on an insurance policy. And that is all statistics, it's all probability. They have enormous volumes of data that let them answer questions like, how likely is it that a person of a certain gender, a certain age, certain background, lifestyle, and so forth, how likely is this person to die over the course of the next year? And yes, it can be kind of a dark calculation, but it's an important one, and it is key to the insurance industry and their pricing model. And all of these calculations are based on this idea of a probability distribution that we talked about in the last lecture. So before we start really kind of trying to analyze the question here, I have a quick definition, right? The expected value of a variable is the average value you would expect to get over the long run, right? And for a probability distribution, this is just equal to the distribution's mean. You remember how we found the mean, because we do this a lot here, how we found the mean of a probability distribution. You take every x value, multiply it by its corresponding probability, and add all of those values up. Okay, that's what we're going to do here. And this expected value, just to be clear, you can think of it as the long-term average, right? For example, if we're looking at an insurance policy and we have some probabilities and we have some prices, and the insurance company determined that the expected value of a policy at a certain price point was $100. What that means is, in the long run, they expect to make $100 per policy. Now, that's in the long run. That's in the aggregate, right? That's their total return. Obviously, individually, they're gonna bring in payments, and every once in a while, they're gonna have to probably write a pretty big check, right, when somebody dies. But in the long run, all of that would average out to this expected value. All right, so let's see how we can do this. Right, and I'm going to start just with a very basic example here. Right, we'll do the insurance company one that's a little more complicated in a minute. We've looked at this scenario before, right? Books read in the last year, and what I want to know is, what is the expected value of this? Remember, the expected value, that is just the mean of the probability distribution. So what I'm going to do is, remember how we do this, excuse me, I'm going to multiply the probability values by the x values. So I've got all the probabilities and all the x's, and I'm just writing all that out here, right? Then let's see if, not equals, times. If we multiply these out, this is 0, 0.31, 0.44, 0.18, and 0.08. And if we add these up, we get 1.01. All right, so in other words, what this is saying is if I sample a really large number of people, right, and I ask all of them what book, how many books they read in the last year, and I average those results, I should get on average 1.01 books per person. All right, so here we have our insurance situation, right? And I want to answer this question: what is the expected value for the person buying the policy? All right, so to do this, I am literally going to make a probability distribution. All right, and the way we do this, we start by saying, what are all the possible outcomes? Right? What are the possible end of the year results? Well, one option is the policy owner dies, and the other one is the policy owner doesn't die. All right, so I'm going to circle back to the result in just a minute. Let's do the probabilities first. The probability of this person dying is 0.242%. And if I make that into a decimal, it's 0.00242. Okay, the probability of their not dying. Well, look, those are complementary events, right? So the probability of not dying will be 1 minus 0.00242, which is 0.99758. Okay, so how about the results here? Right, well, if the person doesn't die, then they wrote a $275 check and they got nothing back. Right, so in this case, their net result is minus $275. Okay, if the person dies, what happens? Well, their estate, right, gets a $100,000 check, but here's where you have to be careful. It's the net amount, right? So, yes, they got a $100,000 check, but they started out at a $275 deficit because they wrote a check on the first day of the year. So we have to subtract out that $275, and their net earnings would be $99,725. Right now, we can do the multiplication part. Right, multiply the x's times the p of x values. 99,725 times, excuse me, that's nope, sorry, that does have the right sign. I was thinking ahead to the next question. So if we multiply 99,725 times 0.00242, we get 241.3345. Then if we multiply these bottom two, negative 275 and 0.99758, we get negative 274.3345. All right, to get the expected value, add these up. That's negative $33. Right, so in other words, there's going to be an average loss to the policyholders, the people buying the insurance, of $33, which is good in a sense, right? That indicates that the insurance company is making money. The insurance company needs to make money, just like any business does. Right. So let me give you this one. Right. It's very similar. All I did is I changed the perspective. Now instead of doing it from the perspective of the customer, the person buying the policy, I'm saying do this from the perspective of the insurance company and see what happens. Or you can pause it if you like. See if you can work that out. Start it up again and we'll go over it together. So the two scenarios are the same. Person dies. Person doesn't die. And the probabilities actually stay the same as well. The probability of dying is 0.00242, and the probability of not dying is 99758. Now, it's the result where things are going to change. Right now, we're looking at this from the perspective of the insurance company's bank account. If the person didn't die, the insurance company got a $275 check from them and didn't have to pay anything out. So they end up with a balance of $275 in their corporate account from every customer in this scenario. Now over here, on the other hand, if the insured does die, then they made $207. Let me write it up higher. Gonna need a little room. They made $275. That was the initial amount of the check they were written. So that'll be 275 minus the $100,000 check that they wrote out. So their balance for this account is negative 99,275. Now again, we're going to multiply across. This first row, this is negative 241.3345 3, 4, 5. This is 275 times 0.99758. This is 274.3345. And if we add these two together, we get positive $33. Okay, so why don't you think about that for a minute? Hopefully now that you see the numeric results, hopefully that makes sense, right? If there's a $33 loss to every insured person, then it makes sense that there should be a corresponding $33 gain for every account by the insurance company. Okay, so what's next? Now that we've got this basic idea of a probability distribution down, we're going to look at two more specific ones that model some very specific real-world situations. In the next series of lectures, we're going to look at what's called a binomial distribution. Right, this particular distribution is useful in modeling situations where we have a specific number of trials and there's only two possible outcomes. For example, it's used a lot in medical research where either a patient has a positive outcome or a negative outcome. Right, a drug has a positive result or it does not have a positive result. Right, so we're going to start by talking about what this distribution looks like, some of its properties. Then in the following lectures, we'll look at how to do some specific examples using this distribution and its formulas.